Hey there, and welcome to yet another devlog. First off, thank you all so much for all the support on Patreon. Let me just real quick read out some names here. Big thanks here to Jonas Pfeiffer, Miss Hovey, Christopher Rose, Simon Bankston, Q21, Daniel Marks. Then also many thanks to all the demons, my best friend Kilian, Diddy, Yabian Fockel, Lightning Strikes Again, Great Mate, and also big thanks to all of the deities, which are Zastavas and Clean. Thank you all so much for the support, I really appreciate it. But now, let's get right into the good stuff and talk about the game. So you may remember me saying stuff like this. For that I also updated the Unreal version to the version 5.3, which worked without many problems. Well, turns out that was a freaking wrong assessment. Way later after the update I noticed that the map sometimes would not really load in if I opened it. At first I didn't really thought much about it and have written it off as an Unreal does weird things again thing. But then it occurred more often and I began to notice a pattern. Always when I jumped from a level that was created in version 5.3, like the hub area, back to the main world level, which was created in 5.1, it would break the level. I couldn't figure out a way to fix that besides rebuilding the level in 5.3, which sucks. So I completely rebuilt the level. But to be honest, as the foliage tool just magically began working again last time, I was pretty sus about the whole thing and thought that something like this might happen. I could extract the height map of the level and use it to create the terrain again in a new 5.3 level, which helped a lot, and then it was only recreating the foliage and mesh positions. The good thing here is that I could switch back to a normal Unreal level and I'm not using the world partition anymore, which made more problems than it solved, so all in all it's a win I think. And also again, no more updates. The upside here was that I could take a deeper look into PCG, procedural content generation, for the map and the foliage, which I wanted to do anyway, so that was a golden opportunity for that. After fiddling around with PCG for about a week and a half, I definitely saw how powerful this tool can be, but at the same time how limited it is in regards to manually adjusting the generated content. For example, if I place down a forest, it can look pretty awesome, but then if I want to adjust the position of some specific trees or stones, I can't change them around manually, which in the end ended up being a no-go for me, because I want the freedom to make these subtle little changes to make some areas feel more special. The other thing was that to me all the generated areas felt kind of soulless. This is probably not because of the tool itself, but because of my inexperience with it. In the end, it would also change my level design approach into coding the look of these areas instead of really building them. And this is not how I want to work on level design. I love to set down trees, ground foliage, cliffs and flowers and see how the area comes to life, more like you would see in a painting. So because of that I will not use PCG for creating all of the areas. I'll stick to my painting approach. I probably use it to scatter around some random things in the level though, or to create some random overgrowth on walls or something like that. After all of that I fixed some bugs with help of some people in the Twitch chat. There was a bug where spawning the enemies with an additional collision box to indicate a range where they should spawn was not working properly. This was because the spawning area was intersecting with the extra collision box, and because of that it didn't spawn the enemies because it thought that there was no walkable area to spawn them on. So I needed to exclude the extra collision box from the check of where enemies can spawn. Big shout out to Dr. 𝙈𝙎 and Steve who helped me figure this out on stream. Another bug that got fixed was a blending error in the grass shader. The grass was always getting darker in the distance. This was because I set up the base color in the wrong way and parts of the alpha mask began bleeding into the base color of the mesh over distance. Here a big thanks and shout out to 𝙍𝙎𝙎𝙀 who helped to figure this one out. Then in the first playtest of the game at my old university, a health calculation bug was discovered. This bug basically reduced the health of the players if they were not full health and unequipped and re-equipped an item that had the health stats on it. This one got fixed by 𝙋𝐸𝙷𝙀, the creator of the main plugin I'm using, so big thanks to him here. And lastly, there was also a bug with picking up equipment. The line trace used was sometimes colliding with the surroundings and did prevent the pickup of items. I fixed this with the band-aid solution for the time being. I'll still have to make a new trace channel to really fix that issue, but for now it works, which is pretty fine. Next up was getting a bit more variety into the landscape. I have redone the bushes I used before because I made them in the very beginning and they didn't fit the overall aesthetics anymore. I'm pretty happy how the new ones turned out. After that I added some more variety of little cliffs that can be placed in the level to break up the monotony of the landscape. I also made some new flowers. These took the longest time to make, but they now really fit the style and I'm pretty happy on how they turned out. Then it was time to make a quest board for the hub area. Here the players can now take on 2 quests which will give them some rewards. These are very basic quests, but at the moment they act like an introduction to the game and show that the quest system is working. I'll also have to figure out a way to give more than just 1 quest to an actor. At the moment every quest board can only have 1 quest. This will definitely change, but I think I have to make a new interface for that, so this will come a bit later. With the quests in and having people play the game, I wanted to make a new inventory design for the game so that the inventory will fit in. This is the first version of the inventory. This will change a bit over time and I also need to change the visuals for the buttons, but for now I'm happy how the style turned out. I made the inventory out of resized and modified textures, kind of just like I do the character textures. I used Affinity Photo and Aseprite for that. I also wanted to finally add blocking with shields to the game. The action RPG multiplayer starter template that I'm using has the basics for that implemented, but I still needed to change some things around with the animations. I'm playing the block animation as a layered and post-blend animation in the animation graph. This has the benefit that I can blend in better walking animations. The animation can be held as long as the players want, and it's easier to place some hit animations on top of that if the players are getting hit while they are blocking. At the moment the blocking works like this. You have to look into the direction of the hit that you want to block. This means if an enemy hits you from the side or from the back, you will get hit and receive damage. There's also a stamina bar for blocking. I'll have to find a better name for that and maybe rearrange the bar so that it does not get confused with a normal stamina bar. What this does is that if players get hit, it will get reduced by a certain amount. If the players get hit and this bar reaches 0, they will get stunned for a second and the enemies can maybe get a free hit in. Oh yeah, and of course I had to model the shield. The thing that accompanied me the whole time over the last months was making a pitch deck for the game. I want to apply for local funding here in Hamburg, and for that I need to send in a good pitch deck that captures the essence of the game and shows that I can make the game a reality. The Game City Hamburg, which is also the institution that gives out the funding, held a pitch level up event where you can pitch your game to some people from the industry and get some feedback on the pitch. I pitched Calamity to 3 people. The first pitch was to someone from the awarding committee for the funding. The second one was to an indie advisor, and lastly I pitched the game to someone from a publisher. The pitches went well, I got good and valuable feedback. In the end I'll have to adjust some stuff to better communicate the essence of the game. I personally always find it very difficult to describe a game with very few words and kind of painting the whole picture of it. The publisher pitch also confirmed my suspicion that publishers who don't have experience with funding small teams or solo devs will most likely shy away from a deal if the time span of the project is longer than a year, because they will most likely deem it too risky. So my advice to other solo devs or very small teams, if they want to have a publisher, would be to try and look for publishers who have a track record of publishing small teams and solo devs. These publishers will most of the time also know what you need and can help you out with that or give you feedback on stuff they have encountered. Also, always think of a pitch you give to a publisher not only as an attempt to appeal to the publisher, but rather try to see if they also appeal to you. If it does not feel right for you to work with them, or you think they can't or won't offer you the things you need, then this publisher most likely isn't for you, and a deal will probably make more trouble than good down the line. So always try to keep that in mind. So yeah, if you guys want to have an in-depth video about what I kind of learned while pitching the game and what my thoughts are on pitch decks and yeah, kind of more infos on pitching and stuff in general, let me know in the comments and I'll then kind of probably make a video about that. But to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm the best person for that, because at least for now my pitches haven't gotten me any deals, so yeah, we will see about that. And yeah, I will also not upload my pitch deck right now. I will upload it a bit later because I want to fix some stuff and get the feedback in there that I got while pitching the deck, and then I will upload it and I'll let you all know when that is in the next video, I guess. So, the other thing that happened was letting people play the game for the first time on two separate events, a small one and a bigger one. On January 15, I let people playtest Calamity at my old university. That was a very small event and the first time some people played the game, which was nice to see, and I immediately could make out some issues and find some bugs. One issue, for example, was that people sometimes didn't really know what to do, so I needed to add some small quests right from the beginning to give players some goals. Even if these quests are just some obvious kill that enemy quests, it will set the players onto the path of going out there and then exploring the world. After that little playtest at the university and fixing some of the bugs mentioned at the beginning of the devlog and also adding the quest board, I was ready for the big playtest at Indie Treff.
Yeah, that's kind of the game. Wenn ihr Bock auf sowas habt oder euch das gefällt, das steht da drüben, kommt einfach rum. That's it.
Adding in the quests definitely helped to give people a push in the right direction. Although I have to rearrange where the quest board and the starter weapons are standing in the hub area, because if I didn't mention them, people most of the time just ran straight into the portal. Some people also found the game a bit too difficult, and I'm still figuring out the balancing in the beginning. And yeah, except some people who played a lot of Dark Souls, they totally crushed it. All in all, I think people liked the game. Nobody rage quitted. If they died the first time, they usually tried one or two more runs, which is a good sign, especially in the surroundings of an event such as this, where there are many people around, it's noisy, and there are a lot of other games. So this was super nice to see. And I also could take away a good amount of feedback, and I again saw some issues that I want to fix. Especially one with how the combat movement is working currently when you are focused on an enemy. At the moment I have it set up so that the player character will turn away from the enemies when he is walking in a specific direction or is walking away from them. He will still attack in the direction the camera is facing though, but this setup makes it very finicky to block with the shield. So I want to try out the Elden Ring approach, where you will strafe around the enemy when you are walking around him and are locked on, but you will break the strafing when you are running and you are locked on. Another big thing is that I need to make some of the attack animations from the enemies a bit more readable, because some attacks come out very quick and people got very often caught by surprise and found them a bit unfair. So yeah, the last 2 weeks were pretty nice and pretty good. I got a lot of very good feedback on the game and stuff like that, but it was also very exhausting because the pitch level up and also the indie treff were so close together, and I had to do a really shit ton of work to get everything ready. So you're probably sitting there thinking, yes, the game is playable, and now when can we finally play the game? I'm sorry to say, but this will take another moment. I want to fix some stuff in terms of how you can play and accessibility so that you can play without me being there. Like, showing off the game on events like this is possible because I am there in person and I can intervene if something goes wrong, like if the game crashes, if stuff just gets stuck or shit like that. I can intervene and change stuff around and let the people play again. So yeah, until I fix some of these issues, which are kind of like controller support for the inventory, the new movement system, and also definitely way more items, until I fix that, there won't be an online playtest. But we're getting there. Slowly and surely, I'm getting there. And yeah, I will let you all know when that is and when there is something playable in the devlogs. So yeah, that's it for this devlog. And yeah, thanks again to all of you for hanging around, watching the videos. You guys are awesome. Also, again, a big thanks for all the support on Patreon. That really means a lot. So yeah, well, see you all in the next one. My thoughts about or I need to write that down. I need to write that down.